Hello, welcome to the programme. We begin this news hour in Lebanon, where Hezbollah has launched a barrage of rockets and drones towards Israel. The group says this is the first phase of its retaliation against Israel for assassinating one of its top military commanders in Beirut last month. Now, these are images from the border region. You can see an Israeli air defense system being activated from the north. Israel's security cabinet has been meeting to discuss the crisis as the government declares a 48-hour state of emergency. A video has emerged of some projectiles making impact and damaging structures in northern Israel, in the city of Acre, as well as the occupied Golan Heights. Well, earlier, Israel conducted what it called preemptive strikes on Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. The military says it attacked thousands of Hezbollah rocket launchers, which were aimed at Israel. At least one person was killed in the village of Al-Hayam. Let's take a closer look at the statement issued by the Lebanese armed group. Hezbollah says that it's targeted a number of enemy sites and barracks and Iron Dome platforms. The statement goes on to say these military operations will take some time to complete. The Islamic resistance in Lebanon is now and at this moment in its highest readiness and will stand strong and watchful against any Zionist transgression or aggression, especially if civilians are harmed. The punishment will be severe. We've also had a statement from Israel, the foreign minister saying that Israel has acted after it had definitely identified a planned widespread attack of missiles. The minister said that Israel is acting by virtue of its right to self-defense against the axis of evil led by Iran. The statement also said Israel is not interested in an all-out war and will act according to developments on the ground. OK, let's start by talking to Zaina Khoda. She joins me now from Marjayoun in southern Lebanon. Zaina, good to see you. I want you to talk me through the sequence of events this morning, because that's quite important. We have Hezbollah firing hundreds of rockets towards Israel, targeting military sites in the north of the country. But this came after Israel carried out its own attack on Hezbollah targets on Lebanon, which they described as preemptive.
Well, there was an intense exchange of fire overnight across this border. Hezbollah saying it carried out its much-awaited and promised retaliation for the killing of its top commander, Fuad Shukr, in a strike in Beirut that also killed civilians. So Hezbollah saying the first phase of its retaliation is over. What it is saying, it was a successful strike. Hezbollah saying it fired 300 rockets that really opened the corridor to allow armed drones to hit two targets. This is what we're understanding from Hezbollah sources. They haven't officially announced this. What their sources are telling us is that they hit two key military targets north of Tel Aviv, and that in the coming hours. Hezbollah Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah will provide more details. So this seems to be a sophisticated, a coordinated strike where rockets land on 11 military targets across northern Israel and armed drones penetrating through Israel's air defense system. So this is what Hezbollah is saying. Israel is saying that it carried out preemptive strikes, hitting at least 40 targets. 100 fighter jets were involved in this operation, one of the biggest attacks yet across southern Lebanon since this conflict began 10 months ago. The Israeli military saying that there was an imminent threat, Hezbollah preparing a major attack, and that it thwarted this operation by targeting rocket launchers. We also understand that 2 Hezbollah fighters were killed in one of those strikes. Now, since this incident or that round of violence happened, there have been 2 strikes in southern Lebanon, one behind me in the border village of Khiyam. A car was targeted, killing a person, but we understand it could be a Hezbollah member because that whole area really has been depopulated from civilians. And there have been, an hour ago, 3 airstrikes on the outskirts of Zebkian. That is a village very close to the border as well. So the exchange of fire is continuing across this border, and that really dangerous incident we witnessed last night, that seems to be over for the time being.
The fact that Hezbollah have described this latest attack as the first phase, Zaina, I mean, that implies that there is a second, possible more deadly phase to come.
Well, yes. First, we have to wait to hear from Hezbollah Secretary General Nasrallah to provide more details on what exactly was hit north of Tel Aviv. The Israelis are saying that no strategic site was hit, or at least they're not divulging any details and providing any information on casualties. But there is no indication that the second phase, if you like, or the continuation of this retaliation could be imminent, because while we wait to hear from Nasrallah, who's expected to provide more details, Hezbollah needed to respond. Hezbollah needed to act because it needs to re-establish deterrence. Israel has been crossing really the red lines. There have been unwritten rules of engagement in place over the past 10 months where both sides have been largely sparing population centers. Strikes have been surgical, focusing on military targets on both sides of the border. In recent days, what we've been seeing is an expansion of this conflict, both sides hitting deeper on both sides of the border. But Hezbollah really needs to reestablish this deterrence in order for Israel to, it's been acting really with little restraint. It has turned the Lebanon battlefield into the Syria battlefield, where it has been degrading capabilities of Iran. And so what Israel has been doing here is degrade the capabilities of Hezbollah. So this is a conflict that may be limited, largely confined to some areas, to surgical strikes, but it is dangerously poised.
OK, thank you for that. Zaina Khoda there for us in Marjayoun in southern Lebanon. Let's bring in Ali Hashim. He has frequently reported from southern Lebanon. Ali, the region has been on edge for some time after Israel's assassination of the Hezbollah commander, Fouad Shakur. That was back in July. And then, of course, the killing of the former Hamas leader, Ismail Haniyeh. Hezbollah had to retaliate. And now it has. Is this what we were expecting, the scale of it?
Well, let's start from the central point that Zaina mentioned, which is deterrence. That's actually what the whole thing is about currently. Israel is trying to impose its own rules of the game, and Hezbollah is trying to restore its deterrence. And this is just rolling from one assassination to another, from one attack to another. However, there's a bigger picture. There's a kind of a real conflict going on between Israel and Iran. We know Hezbollah is allied to Iran. It's kind of an organic extension of the Wilayat al-Faqih doctrine. And this conflict is just evolving from one stage to another. And the more the stages are passed, the more things are becoming really dangerous. But still, what we are seeing is that both sides, despite the strong hits, whether from Hezbollah's side or from the Israeli side or even from the Iranian side, they're all trying to contain this situation. No one wants to go to an all-out war, but everyone...
And that's what we've seen in the messaging from Israel today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Till the moment. Till the moment, this is what we are seeing. Because also till the moment, we are not aware what target Hezbollah hit today, and whether it really hit it or the attack was thwarted, according to what the Israelis are saying. The Israelis were saying that there was a preemptive attack. They launched a preemptive campaign on Lebanon, hitting several Hezbollah launchers, tens or thousands of Hezbollah rockets there, and that thwarted Hezbollah from attacking its targets. Hezbollah responding. We are seeing also kind of it's not only a war of missiles and rockets, it's a war of words also. And everyone is trying to prove their own rhetoric and their own narrative. And this is what we are actually now awaiting with Hezbollah Secretary General's speech, Hassan Nasrallah, who is going to tell people what his group targeted in Israel.
Right. Will we get a better indication of the other side? So what damage Hezbollah has managed to do on Israel? Because it's worth also highlighting that Hezbollah's capabilities have improved over the course of recent months in terms of what they are able to do and the damage they can inflict on Israel.
Well, that's a fact. Now, over the past years, we've been hearing reports of Hezbollah having 150,000 rockets. This year, there was a new report with Hezbollah having more than 1 million rocket or projectile. But the most important thing here is that Hezbollah, over the past 10 months, has been able to accustom itself with the new tactics of the Israeli army. I mean, we've been covering this war for the past 10 months from the south. Personally, I've been there several times, and been seeing how things have been changing. The way Hezbollah is moving, the way they're attacking, and the way the Israelis also are moving and attacking. Both sides are updating their tactics, updating even the games, the rules of the game on a daily basis. However, despite the fact it's a very surgical war, if we can say it, it's a very tactical war, but its impacts are going to be very huge on the whole situation in the region. Because if this conflict gets out of control at any moment, then we are just in front of a regional war.
OK, thank you for that. Ali Hashim, who has frequently reported from southern Lebanon.